Vocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom with a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Mrs. Dowling? Here. Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Kirchner?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
Here.
Mr. Marne?
Here. Council, in your receipt of the April 19th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Public hearings, we have none. Tabled legislation, we have none. New legislation, ordinance number 22-0-031.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with American Fireworks Company to provide fireworks display on or about July 4th, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flipiak?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're very happy to be talking about summertime activities, I must tell you. Mr. Kaminsky, please.
Thank you, Mr. Flipiak, members of council. Two bid proposals were received on April 15, 2022 for the fireworks display for the July 4th festivities that we have here. We spend $25,000 on this event. Based upon the review, American Fireworks submitted the best proposal for the show based on the number of shells and the size of the shells within the proposal. They do have and carry their $10 million liability insurance. We have worked with American Firework for many years, and they have done quality shows. This show here is going to be, and last year's show was fantastic, and this year's, when it comes to the number of shells, is going to be very, very similar. So it is therefore recommended that a contract be awarded to American Fireworks in the amount of $25,000 for the July 4th show. Thank you.
Council, Mr. Krieger?
One question, obviously on the insurance, and that is, when we get a certificate of insurance from them, do they name the city as an initial named insured?
Yes, they
with
do.
waiver of subrogation and non-contributory?
Boy, those are big words for me. I'll have to turn that over to Mr. Zeman.
Mr. Zeman, you want to speak on that?
It'll be in there.
All the above, huh?
Thank you.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-0-031 is approved. Ordinance number 22-0-032.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Norman Monument Company for the purchase and installation of 5 Columbaria at Nunner Cemetery.
Mr. Flipiak?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Kaminsky, please.
Thank you, Mr. Flipiak, members of the council. Three bid proposals were received on April 8th, 2022 for the purchase and installation of 5 Columbaria at the Nunner Cemetery. These 5 units are identical to the brand new unit that we purchased a year and a half ago. And that unit that we have out there right now only has 6 spots left. So we are selling these at a very quick rate. You see the specifications for the columbarium. Based upon the review, it is therefore recommended that a contract be awarded to Norman Monument Company in the amount of $76,500 for the purchase and installation of the 5 Columbaria at the Mentor Cemetery. Thank you.
Mr. Blake?
You gotta ask. Go ahead.
I gotta ask this, okay? And this is for people out there who may be watching. I had to look this up because I'm not a cemetery guy. Can you describe what this actually is and whether, yeah.
If you would go to the south road of the cemetery is where we have what is referred to, if it's not columbarium, it's also referred to a niche wall. And basically it's a area where once a person is cremated, they get put into this columbarium. and it's columbariums because it's set up, it's set up in columns. You have the ability, if you purchase that niche, that there could be two urns that are put inside of that columbarium. On the front of it, it would state, your name, date of birth, and then when you when you have died as well.
Each unit is about a square foot, and there are 24 on each side of the overall granite unit, so 48 total.
And so these are built to last into perpetual, those made of
Yes.
granite, it's there for a long time.
Absolutely. We've had some there that have been in there for a long time already, some of the older ones.
Okay, thank you.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-0-032 is approved. Ordinance number 22-0-033.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with M-Tech Company for the purchase of one City Cat 5006 street sweeper.
Mr. Flippia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Schweikert, please.
Thank you. The 2022 budget contains funding for the purchase of a new street sweeper. This sweeper will replace a 15-year-old model that is currently experiencing significant downtime and maintenance costs and has reached the end of its functional life cycle. Street sweeping not only improves the aesthetics of our roadway, but also allows us to meet the demands of our stormwater pollution permit by removing debris and particulate matter that otherwise would end up in the stormwater system and ultimately Lake Erie. After demonstrating a number of different sweepers, Public Works Department personnel are recommending the purchase of a City Cat 5006 manufactured by Bucher Municipal North America for a price of $248,828. This price includes an enhanced 5-year, 5,000-hour warranty. In accordance with the Ohio State Term Schedule program, our actual contract will be with M-Tech Company of Cleveland, who is the dealer for this sweeper. Thank you.
Mr. Schweikert, I got a question. Do you schedule that on specific streets in the city, or do you go to a street that's got dirtier than the other street? That's a scheduled thing that hits?
Yes, as a rule, it's scheduled, and our commitment through the stormwater program is we do every curb street every other month.
Yeah, that's fantastic. When that thing comes through and cleans it up, it makes a huge difference. Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
22-0-033 has passed. Ordinance number 22-0-034.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Home Depot for the purchase of lumber and related materials for the construction of a boardwalk and observation deck at the Nunner Lagoons and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flippia.
Thank you, Mr. President. And council, this refers to, of course, the first two phases of the project, the observation deck and boardwalk at the Nunner Lagoons. Mr. Schweikert, please.
Thank you. Bids were open on April 20th for the purchase of various sizes of lumber and related items that will be used in the construction of a boardwalk and observation deck at the Nunner Lagoons. While materials would typically be included in a contract for construction, the requirements of our grant funding, that is, Community Development Block Grant, is being used to purchase materials. And this grant dictated that the materials be purchased by July 1st, 2022, and we probably won't have the construction ready to go by that date. 2 bids were received for these materials, with the low bid being submitted by Home Depot with a price of $101,766.55. Summary is attached, which reflects the full range of materials to be purchased. The city has successfully purchased many materials from Home Depot, and it's my recommendation that they be awarded this contract. Thank you.
Council?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-0-034 has passed. Second readings, we have none. Third readings, we have none. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Council, NOACA, which is the region's planning agency, is conducting a regional lakefront study in Lake Cuyahoga and Lorraine counties to explore new ways to connect the public to Lake Erie. The public is invited to participate in an online survey to help plan the future of Lake Erie's coastal public sites. And you can learn more about that on our website, cityofmentor.com. City of Mentor has an immediate need to fill lifeguard positions at our pools. New lifeguards can start at up to $14 per hour based on their availability and can receive free training and certification with a season commitment. They can also learn more about those opportunities and other opportunities for employment with the city at cityofmentor.com/employment. The Aqua, Ohio Bellflower Court and Fireside Court water main replacement project is scheduled to begin this week on Bellflower Court. Project consists of replacing the existing water mains and 2 fire hydrants. The project will take approximately 90 days and will include lawn restorations. One thing that I mentioned this, and I've mentioned this in the past, but the project is getting started. There will be some material stored in those cul-de-sacs. So, council, you may get a few calls on that until you'll understand that it's specifically for this project. Brookstyle Road reconstruction sanitary sewer work is anticipated to begin tomorrow. The single point road closures will occur where the sanitary work takes place. Resident access will be maintained as it has been throughout the Headlands project from either the north or south of the road closures, and the project is anticipated to be completed in September of this year. Mentor Heisley Recreation Facility closed this past weekend for renovations. Current members have been notified and is expected to reopen no earlier than September. The Mentor Rotary Club will be cleaning grave sites and straightening VA flag holders this Saturday, May 7th, at the Mentor Cemetery. The Boy Scouts will be putting out flags on the 16th, and Gunny Hall will be planting geraniums on the 20th at the cemetery in anticipation of our well-attended memorial event. And so we appreciate and thank those organizations for partnering with us to keep our cemetery beautiful. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Flipiak. Clerk's correspondence, if I could get it out.
Nothing to report.
Nothing. Commission and committee reports, we have none. Old business, anyone? New business? Persons before council, we have none. Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
13.